Good evening. Happy alive. Happy kind of love week. I've heard it described this week. Hope you guys had a great Valentine's Day, but I have heard it called Love Week. So hopefully you guys are having a lovely week, whether in a relationship or in love with yourself or those around you or all of the above. I am going to go through my normal today, which is answer your guys' questions as well as go over happy news and real estate updates. If you guys have any questions, feel free to write them in the comments. Otherwise, I will just ramble away. Hopefully you guys have also enjoyed the more mild weather we had today. It is also supposed to be around tomorrow, so I'm going to start with questions first. So not all questions, but just some. So the first question comes from Jill and Brad and Aurelia. So Jill and Brad and Aurelia said, we really need a second vehicle with having twin toddlers plus 2 older kids, but I'm afraid it will mess up us buying on the other hand. Help, I need a car, but I also need a home. Thank you, Jill and Brad, for asking. So to be honest, I would just ask your mortgage broker and say like, hey, what is my debt to service ratio? So if your debt to service ratio, for example, is 24%, which means for every $100 you make, you spend 24, then you're still going to have room for a car payment in there. But if, for example, you're already teetering and you're up like at 40 or 39 or something like that, then it's not going to work. But they'll be able to tell you more so because they'll say what it all means and what it means you can afford. They might say like, hey, you can afford a $300 payment a month or an $1,100 payment a month, or you're maxed out already as it is. So I would just do that. And then obviously if you can wait, if you can get into the house first and then get the car after, just because to get into a home and the prices that homes are going up, the percentage every year makes a lot more sense than the vehicle that's going down. So that's what I would do. Thank you for asking. Again, so we do, for anybody that doesn't know, we do happy news as well as questions, and then I do the real estate like right smack dab in the center. But if you guys have questions, feel free to ask them in here, okay? So they're actually, because I was saying, for example, about Valentine's, there's actually a town called Lovers Town, and I've never heard of it before. It is in the UK, and they every year on Valentine's for a full week. Hi, Rob, how are you? I don't know if you're with Adria, if she's still working, but hello. So every year on Valentine's for the whole week, they have all of these basically added volunteers because the staff at the Canada Post, or not Canada Post because UK, at the post office, they go in and help because all of these people want to go there and send postcards because it puts a stamp on it, just says from Lovers, and then it says February 14th, so people think it's good luck there. So they always get around 8,000 to 10,000 things sent out on Valentine's week. So I thought that was cute. And also there was a couple that moved there like 55 years ago because they said they wanted to be the lovers from Lover. So I just thought it was cute, and it's a romantic week, so we have to say cute, schmoopy, whoopy things. The next question comes from Craig in Phelpston. So Craig in Phelpston, disregard that. I have like all my drying dishes around in front of me, so I just knocked one over. So Craig in Phelpston said, I saw one of your trailers the other day and was wondering how that works, or is that just you guys staging somewhere? Thank you, Craig, for asking. So it could have been staging, but it also, we let our sellers and buyers use our trailers. So we have 4 different trailers, and we also give them free boxes and tape. So it could have been either or. I don't know of anybody staging the other day, so it was probably just somebody that was moving, or we even let them use it like if they're going to the dump, or they want to go buy something at IKEA, or they're buying a snowmobile and they don't have a way to transport it, etc. So that is what our clients get to use, but thank you for asking. Next thing is, there was a person in San Francisco, and basically his wife said that he was weird and that he needed to get some more friends, which is kind of mean, but he took it literally. So he had a poster made, and it said on it, my wife says I'm weird and need more friends, so I'm making pancakes. And he said it on a Saturday, and he just he put it all over his neighborhood where they live, like a 3-block radius from their home. And over 75 people ended up coming. He made more than 125 pancakes, and he's done it a couple of times since then. And a lot of people said, just with how the past 2 years has been, as well as just not having that, sense of community and, people being secluded during COVID, they just really enjoyed it. So he met lots of new people and friends in the neighborhood. So I just thought it was cute. Again, random happiness. The next question comes from Gina in Barrie. So Gina in Barrie said, we ordered a new kitchen back in December and it still hasn't arrived yet. We are fast approaching the new possession date of our new build, and I'm starting to get worried. How long should I wait before I just list it or get an IKEA kitchen? Thank you, Gina, for asking. So I haven't been to IKEA in a while, but I did hear that they're super behind with their kitchens and stuff, and they don't have a lot in stock. So I don't know how much luck you will have there. You could always, let's just say, for example, you already have like the layout of the new kitchen. Let's just say you know it's white or black or whatever. You could have a picture in there. You could show the current one, and then you could show another one and say not exact, but new kitchens ordered from blah, blah, I don't know, ABC Kitchens, to arrive or to be put in before completion date. Hi, Tiff. How are you? Hi, Rebecca. Hi, Sam. I don't always say hi to everybody because I don't always know who everybody is. But so you could just always do that, because let's just say you get new possession or possession of your new place in April. You don't want suddenly it's April 1st and they're like, hey, by the way, your kitchen's not coming till July, and then you're paying 2 mortgages. So, I mean, you could wait another couple weeks and then you could just do that. That's what I would do, because I've had things that were supposed to come in last October and now they're saying March and they're still saying that's not set in stone. So I don't know how long it'll be. So that is what I would do instead of paying 2 mortgages, just because there is no inventory right now. So anyways, thank you for asking, Gina. So there was a joke basically in Nigeria that made more than $600,000. So there's this musician guy in Nigeria, and it was 4 days before his birthday. And on Twitter, he said, send me money for my birthday, and then I'll make a #1 song. And he put his bank account information, which I thought was kind of weird. And he thought maybe, you know, famous people might send him money or something like that. But he didn't think, being in a poor country like Nigeria, anybody would, per se. And he ended up getting more than 600,000 equivalent to US dollars sent to him in the 4 days by his birthday. So he ended up giving it all to Nigerian orphanages, because, again, he wasn't actually planning on people sending him money. He did then do a thank you song to everybody and donated that. So I thought that was cute. Okay, so now we're jumping into real estate. I can't see the little bubble who that is, but thank you, whoever that was that just popped on. So again, you guys can ask any questions if you have. Otherwise, I will just gab away, not jab, gab away. Okay, so obviously, as you know, interest hikes and all the talks about that going up. And again, it's only supposed to be around 0.7%. But even with all of that, there was just a survey done the other day of 1,000 Canadians, and 64% of them still think that their home value will go up in the next 6 months, compared to the last time they did their survey, when only 60% thought that their home would go up in value. So that is actually the first time. Like, normally it only goes up a little bit, like 0.5%, or it teeters around. So that was the first time that it's gone up 4%. Since 2016. And there was 5.6% of people of those 1,000 that took the survey that thought that their home value would go down. But again, 64 thought that it would go up. And even though originally they said that the rates might go up the end of the year, now they're saying that it might go up as early as March, which is obviously next month. But that was already reported when these people, 64%, said they thought their home would still go up. So that is really good to see consumers' positivity in the market. And normally, just as an FYI, normally teeters around 40% think their home will go up in the 6 months. So it's not to say they think it'll go down. They just think it might be level. If it's worth 600, it's still worth 600 in 6 months. But it teeters again around 40% that thinks it will go up. And right now it is 64% that thinks it will go up. Hi, Lisa. Thank you for joining. Okay, so with the possibilities of rate hikes in March, what has that done to our already crazy market? It has made it more crazy. So people are like, oh my God, I have to get into the market now, because what if it does go up? And what if, you know, right now I'm approved for 900 and then I'm only going to be approved for 825, etc. So it's making the market even more and more crazy, which is making the demand more. And again, we don't have any inventory, which is kind of sucky, but great if you are a seller. Okay. So I jump around a lot, so I apologize if you guys have questions. Again, just write it in there, but otherwise I'm going to do my normal jump around. So in Toronto, they looked at January just past 2022, obviously, versus January 2021, and it was up over 28%. So the average sales price was 1.24 in Toronto. I will do local later on. And it was up 7% over December, okay? Up 7% over December and 28% over January of last year. And 18% less homes sold in Toronto. So it was down from 6,800 and change to 5,600 and change. But again, up over 28% the average sales price, okay? And again, that was in Toronto. So just in Toronto alone, there was over 121,000 sales in 2021. which was up over 28%. So both the two, 28%. The price went up over 28%, and the average number of homes sold went up over 28%, and that was over 2020. The number of homes sold, again, 121,000 and change, and that was the new highest record of the amount of homes ever sold in Toronto, and previously 2016 was the highest number of homes ever sold. And even though 121,000 and change were sold last year, they're guessing only 110,000 will be sold this year. And the reason they are guessing that is they think that not everybody will be able to afford it with the rate hike. Again, not a huge hike, around 0.7%, but they think that that will limit it by that about 10 to 11,000. Okay, they're still suspecting that the average price in Toronto by the end of 2022 will be about 1.225, which if you guys watched last week, you know that Toronto now beat Vancouver for the highest sales price, which it was only 5,000 more, but still does not happen. It's usually Vancouver's already hot or always higher. And that 1.225 is 12% higher than last year is what they're expecting it to grow, okay? And just as an FYI, there was also 6.2% new builds more in January of 2022 than January of 2021 new construction, which is nice. What else was I going to say? I said that already. Okay, so Canada's housing market, obviously for about a decade, has been breaking records. But it's primarily fueled in Toronto and Vancouver. But since the pandemic has been spreading, obviously a lot, further and wider, and I'll tell you what the highest was around, and then you'll see that it's not very close to Toronto. And then even if we do look at Vancouver, they were up a crazy amount. So even though we beat them in January, again by 5,000, the average sales price from Toronto, they were up 42.2% over their January of last year. Again, I will do local in a little bit, but I do like all over the place. So they were up 42.2%, and that's up over 33.4% over their decade average, their average sales price, okay? And they had 44,000 homes sold last year, which is their highest ever. And to get a detached home in Vancouver now will average you just over 1.9, and to get a townhome there will average you $1 million. Okay, so for the entire year of 2021 in Ontario, the highest place that went up was Bancroft, and that's up kind of by Algonquin Park. There's like a thing called Baptiste Lake up there. I know because I used to go to a cottage up there. Anyways, it went up over 48% from 2021 prior to 2020. Okay, so 48%. It's crazy. And the mayor there said that, they're not turned off by all of the out-of-town buyers buying up there, even though it is driving their prices up, because they said they have had for decades many people that have had cottages up there, and they know they're like an integral part of their economy, so they were fine with it. Other places that have gone up tons. Hi, Petra, how are you? Hi, Jack. I can't see everybody's bubble. Hi, Eric. So other places that have gone up tons is North Bay. So North Bay was second, so North Bay went up 42.4%. Also Chilliwack, which to be honest, I don't know exactly where that is, went up 41.6%. Brantford, 40.4%. Cambridge, 39.5%. Again, this is 2021 year as a whole versus 2020. Kawartha Lakes went up 39.1. Simcoe/Barrie went up 38.8, and Moncton went up 38%. London and St. Thomas went up 37.5%, and Oakville and Milton went up 36.4%. So the mayor of Bancroft was just a little worried because obviously they have lack of inventory just like everywhere else, and he knows that on average it takes 5 to 7 years to build a subdivision. So he's just a little worried on that end. So North Bay, again, which was the second highest, the amount that theirs went up, which was 42.4% in 1 year, their average sales price. So why, were people moving up there, etc.? Because they can get a brand new 4,000 square foot home for about 600,000, whereas in Toronto, that might, obviously depending on areas, etc., might cost them around 2.5. So 600,000 versus 2.5. Then yes, they might not have the same job or whatever, but because their payments are so much less, or maybe they don't have a payment at all, depending if they're selling in Toronto, then they are just making the move. And then in Barrie, what did our mayor say? So Lehman said He is not surprised when people want to move to Simcoe County. He said he was just a little bit surprised how much it skyrocketed during COVID, because he thought that people would more hunker down during COVID and the pandemic than they did, instead of everybody moving everywhere. So as a whole in Ontario, prices were up over 30% year over year. Again, 2021 versus 2022. I don't have February statistics yet, because obviously February is not done. And last week I did most of January statistics. So Ottawa was up not so much. They were up 16%, but majority of Canada was up anywhere from 25 to 40% 2021 over 2020. And according to CREA, which is the Canadian Real Estate Association, 85% of real estate markets were in a seller's market. They said 15% were in a balanced market. I have no idea where those 15% places are, because they're definitely not around here, but supposedly they are somewhere in Canada. And as I talked about last week, them wanting to build like the 1.5 million homes, etc. There was a man, for example, again, this is not in Canada, but still relevant, because obviously it takes too long with red tape and stuff before you can get a shovel in the ground kind of thing, in San Francisco. And he just got approved last week to build 4 new duplexes, which sounds like, okay, great. Yeah, more housing for people. However, he first started trying to develop the land in 1979. So to get it this many years later is crazy. I don't know if it's that bad here, but it definitely does take a long time. So that's what they're trying to get rid of, all of that red tape, and try and change to commercial, let's just say commercial properties in Toronto, that now the businesses are like, hey, we're going to have people work from home continuously. They're trying to change those commercial properties into residential and not give them as much headache when trying to change the zoning. Okay. So in Simcoe County, in the last 7 days, the number of new listings is 194. And then of those 194 listings, 191 sold firm. Okay, so people would think, okay, there's only 3 that didn't sell. However, 27 of the listings also sold conditionally. So that means 218 altogether, even though there was only 194 are off the market, which means they had to go into last week, which if you watched me last week, you would see that they'd also went into the week before. So just showing there's no inventory, and like things that might have been listed 45 days, 110 days or whatever, they're getting those as well, buying those as well, because there's just nothing to choose from. Okay. So 76 people also got keys to their homes in the last 7 days, and 8 people raised the price of their properties. A lot of people think you can go down in price and you can't go up, which is not true. You absolutely can go up in price. So 8 people proved that this week, and they put their prices up in Simcoe County. So Barrie, for condos in the last 7 days, there were only 8 new listings. 3 of them went conditional, and 13 went firm. So obviously 16 of the 8 that were listed. So double the amount of condos that were listed are now off the market. So again, going into older inventory, etc. And 4 people got keys to their condos. So last week I went over Simcoe County and Barrie when I looked at like detached in towns, etc. But I didn't do other areas in Simcoe because I was kind of running out of time. So I will do some more this week. So in ESSA, for example, this is all in January, okay? Versus January of 2020. So in ESSA in January, for a detached home, the average sales price is now $1,019,000, and that is up 19.8% again in ESSA. So just west of Barrie, a townhome there now averages $843,000. And again, I don't do like the numbers 843 and blah, blah, whatever. I just do the first numbers. That was up over 27%. Then when we go south a little bit to Innisfil, a detached home there is now 1.278, which is up over 43.9%. There were no townhomes that sold. There was one townhome that sold this year in January, but there wasn't any that sold in 2020. So they couldn't do statistics of how much that was up. Obviously, there's just not a lot of townhomes in Innisfil, and not necessarily that sold in January. So in Aurelia, the average detached home is now $809,000, which is up 44.8%. And the average townhome in Aurelia is $772,000, which is crazy, up 44.2%. And if we head over to Wasaga, as if we're headed to Collingwood or just going to the beach, the average detached there is now $944,000, so teetering close to $1 million, up 48.5% over January of 2020. And the average townhome in Wasaga Beach is now $745,000, up 47.7%, which is ludicrous. I don't know if that's, I can't see there who the little bubbles are. Looks like Lena. Okay, so next question is from Paula in Oro Medonte. So Paula said, I live in a 40-plus-year-old home with my sister, and we feel it's time to go our separate ways. I want to remove wallpaper, get a new counter, possibly replace the shingles. My sister says, no, just put it up now. What would you suggest? Paula, to be honest, unfortunately, I'm going to side with your sister, because let's just say you do all those things, and like that other person that's waiting for the kitchen, you're waiting for X amount of months. By then, now you have all this other inventory that you are now against, so you're not necessarily in the driver's seat, as well as maybe, the interest rates have gone up and not as many people can afford to be in the market. And also, let's just say, again, I don't know your home, but let's say somebody else has a double car garage and you only have a single, or you don't have an ensuite and they do, or you have an ensuite but it doesn't have a separate tub and somebody else's does. It just gives buyers more options if there are more homes on the market. So if you list now when there's, like I said, way more homes are selling than are available, then it just puts you in the driver's seat. So I personally would do it now and not do it. So I know you want it showing its best, and I respect that and pride of ownership, but I would just get it up now. I know it's kind of hard and some people don't want people in their homes when it's not, the best, but that is what I would do. But thank you for asking. So you never know what one stamp will do to somebody. And again, I do, happy news as well as real estate updates and answer your guys' questions. So now I'm back into some happy news. There was a fellow in Alaska, and he graduated from high school in 1961, but they put like a stamp on it that said he met the minimum requirement, and it was in red. And, he never liked that, so he never put it on the wall, etc. Meanwhile, when he was 19, he was already married. He already had one child and one on the way. He used to walk to school. He used to then walk an hour to go to work at night, so obviously lacking on sleep just to graduate. So when he did graduate and he got that stamp, was not ideal for him. Anyways, one of his grandchildren then found out about it down the road and contacted the high school, and they said that they'd be happy to give him a new one without that stamp. And meanwhile, fast forward to now, he's had a successful business. He's written a book about kindness, and he spreads smiles basically everywhere he goes in the community. So when they went to pick up his new certificate for high school, they did an actual full ceremony just for him. They had the choir, they had everything all set up and all these banners, etc., which obviously was super nice for him to be recognized and see his determination and stuff, even though he graduated so many years ago. So the next question, again, I just like happy stuff. The next question is from Marilyn in Menacing. So Marilyn said, how much of an effect do you think the market will change with the upcoming rate hikes? Thank you, Marilyn, for asking. So to be honest, it's only supposed to go up around 0.7, but even if it went up more, a lot of people, already pay more than, the rate. So let's just say they're locked in at 3.7, and it's already lower than that. So if their mortgage or was to renew, they're going to end up locking in lower anyways. Then there's I forget what it is, 29.6% or something like that of Canadians that don't even have a mortgage. And then all the ones that were approved recently, they were approved at 2% higher anyways, and it's not supposed to go 2% higher. So it's not going to have an effect on it. So we're just going to continue in our lack of inventory and so forth. So I don't actually see any issues with it, besides that some people might not be able to buy. But we still have such a massive amount of demand and such a little amount of inventory. So even if our massive amount just gets a little bit, smaller, our inventory is still much, much, much smaller. So I don't actually see an effect on that. Hi, Eve. Thank you for popping in. And anyways, thank you for asking. Okay. I think that was, Marilyn that asked. So this is a random thing. Again, I'm a random kind of person. So there were stray cats that saved somebody's business during COVID. So there was a man in Japan, and he had, those train model sets. He had little towns set up and so forth, and he had a restaurant and basically would go around the restaurant with these trains. And during COVID, they had lockdowns similar to us. And so he was about to shut his doors, and, a cat, I guess, showed up, a stray cat. He started to feed it. And then another cat came, and another one came with kittens and so forth. And hi, Alex, how are you? And he ended up having these cats. So he opened the restaurant, and he'd have these cats around. And then people started to ask about them. And he said, oh, they were strays. They came during COVID. And people started to ask if they could adopt them. So he ended up posting pictures of the cats around the trains and stuff, and posting them on his Instagram. Anyways, he ended up getting such a high demand that he rented the spot above his restaurant, because he turned it into a little cat hotel so people could take their stray cats there. And then meanwhile, while people were dining downstairs, cats would come down. They could pick, okay, I want to take that cat home, or I want to take that cat home. Now he's booked months in advance for dinner reservations, and over 60 cats have gone to new homes. So it was just cute. I am well, thank you. I hope you are as well, Alex and Amy. And the next question comes from Graham and Bradford. So Graham and Bradford said, can you tell me how come some homes offer a percentage to agents and some a dollar amount? Why wouldn't they all be the same? Thank you, Graham, for asking. So yeah, you would think they'd all be the same, but in reality, the sellers are allowed to put whatever they want. So they could put 2.5, they could put 2, they could put 1.5, they could put 1, but they also can do a flat rate. So they could say 10,000, 5,000, 2,000, etc. The problem with it is just because majority are 2.5, if an agent is making less than 2.5, they're not necessarily going to want to show the property. It is against our code of ethics to not show a property because of its commission that's being offered. But unfortunately, it happens pretty regularly. There's been some like detective, whatever you want to call it, undercover things on, I don't know what it was, W5 or 2020 or something like that, of trying to catch agents not showing properties due to commission being paid. But yeah, that's why, because the sellers could offer a penny if they want. They could offer 10 cents. They could offer a quarter. But obviously that is not going to get many people through the door, but they are allowed to do whatever they want. So it's not set in stone what they have to offer, but thank you for asking. So the next thing is people with spinal cord cuts or paralyzed, etc. My grandpa used to be in a wheelchair. He's paralyzed. He's not alive anymore. So it's not like he can suddenly walk. But there is this new device, and it's basically a medical implant, and it sends signals to the extremities that are paralyzed, don't ask me how, via some AI technology, and like tells them to move. So there's this fellow, Michael, like obviously they tested on certain people, and he used to box and he used to work out and he used to run, etc. He was in a motorcycle accident and then hasn't walked since. He had this implant put in, and within an hour they gave him a walker, and he was walking. And it's all like, it's really weird because it's on an app. So they can set it to swimming, walking, whatever. It's almost like you have a little robot inside you. So he could like go to a pool and press swim, and his body don't. Again, ask me how it happens. But I just thought it was cool because, I mean, if my grandpa could have walked again, I'm sure he would have loved it. So anyways, that's it for all of my questions. I hope you guys are, even my everything, not just my questions. I hope you guys have a beautiful week, remainder to your week, and a lovely rest of Love Week again, as some people have called it. I hope you guys continue going after your dreams, stay kind to one another, and have a beautiful night. Take care.